Thank you, Director. Good evening, everyone, to the Rainbow District School Board meeting for September 26, 2023. Just a reminder that we are being live streamed. We have a land acknowledgement. The Rainbow District School Board would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional and ancestral territory of the Anishinaabeg, including Atikamekw, Anishinaabeg, and Wahnapitae nations. We would like to acknowledge that we are situated within the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850 and want to recognize the inherent rights of the Anishinaabeg that maintain these lands from time immemorial. Roll call, Director.
Trustee Dubosky.
Present.
Trustee Farrell.
Present.
Trustee Gibson.
Present. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Trustee Cosmerly.
Present.
Trustee Dewar.
Present.
Trustee Hunda.
Present.
Trustee Corbier-Addison.
Present.
Trustee Clement.
Present.
Student Trustee Green.
Present.
And Student Trustee Jacko Sywink.
Sorry, my green light wasn't on. So we have a mover, Trustee Cosmerly, and a seconder, Trustee Doreen Dewar. Any questions? Poll vote, Director.
So this vote is for approval of the agenda. Trustee Clement.
In favor?
Trustee Corbier-Addison.
In favor.
Trustee Dubosky.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor.
Trustee Farrell.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly.
In favor.
Student Trustee Green.
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. B, preliminary declaration of pecuniary interests. I see none. C, the presentations tonight, summer programs for students, Superintendent Fisher, McNamara, and Wozniak. You, Director.
So we have a lot to share tonight, so I'll be brief in my comments. I just want to thank this outstanding team of leaders for all of their hard work, not only to prepare this, but once you see the presentation, I think you'll be quite amazed at the amount that was accomplished this summer in support of our students, and all staff involved should be commended. So I'll turn it over to Superintendent Wozniak, who I believe will start the presentation.
Thank you, Director. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share an overview of our summer programs with you this evening. Joining us are Principal of Special Education Programs and Services, Danielle Williamson, Manager of Applied Behavior Analysis Services, Brian Manahan, Mental Health Lead, Sarah Jokinen, and Principals of Summer School Programs, Carrie Wilson, Dave Sainamore, Kate McKenzie, Nicole Nicholas Bayer, and Intermediate Summer Program Lead, Richard Duffy. As you can see in your board report, our presentation this evening highlights 8 summer programs, 3 special education programs, mental health supports, kindergarten camp, the elementary grade 1 to 6 program, the intermediate program, Indigenous Summer Learning Program, and the secondary program. There's a great deal of information to share with you this evening that illustrates student achievement and well-being. Our summer programs support Rainbow District School Board strategic directions. These programs enable students to reach their potential by providing engaging learning opportunities and by setting high expectations. They also help us to build student resilience and to nurture emotional well-being. It is now my pleasure to introduce Danielle Williamson, Principal of Special Education Programs and Services.
Thank you. Special education provided funding to support extra staffing for summer programs offered across the Rainbow District School Board. To further support students in our early intervention programs, we were happy to be able to host an early intervention classroom at Adamsdale Public School this year. This program had a teacher, 2 educational assistants, and 6 students. To support students attending the CODE Summer Learning Program, special education provided 4 special education teachers to provide small group literacy intervention for students at Adamsdale, CBDCS, Lansdowne, and Little Current Public School. The extra staffing provided more intensive and personalized programming for all students attending the CODE Summer Learning Program. In addition to the support of our special education resource teachers, educational assistants were provided at Adamsdale, CBDCS, Lansdowne, and Little Current sites to further support our student needs. Both the intermediate summer learning program and the secondary summer school locations received a special education resource teacher to support students with their individualized education plans and accommodations. In both programs, the teachers worked with students requiring individual and small group instruction as needed. Special education also provided 11 educational assistants to support the needs of kindergarten students at kindergarten camp in the following locations: Adamsdale, Algonquin, Central Manitoulin, Churchill, C.R. Judd, CBDCS, McLeod, Northeastern, Redwood, and Walden Public School. We were happy to be able to run an early intervention summer program once again this year. Students from our 4 early intervention classrooms were invited to attend. The model for the summer program mirrors the program that is run during the school year. The classroom focus is on literacy, numeracy, social skills, self-regulation, and conflict resolution. Our students and staff enjoy community outings, and they also took advantage of learning about construction through the work that was happening at Adamsdale Public School over the summer. Speech and language pathologist Stephanie Frenette conducted assessments with students at the Center for Education during July and August. In total, 37 speech and language assessments were done. During this time, Stephanie completed the full reports and held parent meetings to ensure strategies could be shared with staff working with students this fall. Out of the 20 language assessments and 17 articulation assessments completed, 20 students qualified for a referral to the Children Treatment Center's school-based rehabilitation program for articulation and programming. 4 students that were seen for an articulation assessment will be presented for a full language assessment with our speech and language pathologists. 15 students that were assessed met criteria for an identification of communication language impairment, and 6 students met criteria for language intervention that they will receive this school year. The summer transition program was designed to support students with significant special needs and/or anxiety and help to ease them back into school. It was open to students in kindergarten through grade 12, and each Rainbow school was invited to submit a transition plan proposal in June. Each transition plan was uniquely designed by the school team to best meet the needs of the students and families in their school community. The programs ran between August 21st and 31st, and each program was a little different. Some provided a full day or more in class. Other schools provided visits and fun activities, while others focused on one-to-one interaction with school staff. The goal in all the programs was to ease the transition back into school by providing students with the opportunity to reacquaint themselves with the school building, their classroom, and of course, to meet and interact with school staff. In some instances, families also accompanied students in their transition visits. All in all, it was a great way to welcome back our students with special needs and relive relieve some of the anxiety for them and their families about the upcoming new school year. 15 of our elementary schools offered special education transition programs. As you can see, the programs were very well attended and representative of the needs in many of our schools. 7 secondary schools offered special education transition programs. These secondary programs are especially helpful for our students with special needs that are transitioning into grade 9. It allows grade 9 students to attend not only the traditional events that welcome grade 9s that secondary schools host, but also additional transitional visits to further ensure they are well prepared for the first day of school. In total, we had 414 students participating in transition programs this year, which is an increase of about 70 students from last year. Of those students, 230 were students in intensive support programs, and 184 were students in the regular program who require the additional support before school begins. In total, there was 103 school staff that ensured that the transition events ran smoothly. We had 62 teachers and 41 educational assistants altogether. Staff have grown to really appreciate and take advantage of transition opportunities to set students up for success before school begins each fall. At this time, I would like to invite Brian Manahan, manager of ABA, to share the details of his program.
Thanks, Danielle. Good evening. The Summer Skills program for students with autism was developed by our Applied Behavior Analysis team and delivered in collaboration with our mental health team. Through this program, students were taught various social and life skills through video modeling, role play, feedback, games, and more. Lessons were developed based on the needs of the group, and activities were sent home to promote the generalization of skills. Based on the location of our interested participants, the program was offered in 3-week blocks in July and August at the Ruth McMillan Center and Northeastern Elementary School. In total, 29 students participated in the program this year. Students acquired many new skills, and perhaps most importantly, new friendships were formed. Many students returned for a 3rd year. Several skills were taught based on age and ability, including talking on topic, losing is okay, asking for help, and self-calming. On Fridays, students participated in cooking and baking lessons and made treats such as lunchbox pizzas, s'mores, and cake mix cookies. They also learned skills such as measuring, following recipes, stove and oven safety, and hand washing. In our student feedback surveys, 86% of students said they had fun in the program, and 83% said they made a friend. Through our parent feedback surveys, we found that 96% of families agreed or strongly agreed that their child enjoyed coming to the program, and 91 agreed or strongly agreed that their child learned useful skills. All parents agreed or strongly agreed that the educators were skilled and useful, and 96% would recommend this program to another parent. This slide shows some of the additional feedback we received. Many parents mentioned the positive skill development in their child, the friendships they formed, and their appreciation for our skilled staff. Some parents suggested that we increase our hours of programming and consider offering the program to students without a diagnosis. Many of the benefits of the program extended outside of the teaching setting. Students who all attended different schools began socializing outside of the program through weekend play dates, adding each other to gaming sites, and exchanging their home phone numbers to set up future meetings. That includes the presentation on the ASD Summer Skills Program. I would now like to welcome Mental Health Lead Sarah Jokinen.
Thank you, Brian. Good evening. This summer, members of the mental health team again had the privilege of working with the ABA team in the Summer Skill Development Program for students with autism. We delivered a daily group program which focused on mental wellness. The group covered the following topics: mindfulness, emotion regulation, growth mindset, problem solving, stress and coping strategies, including how stress affects the brain, self-compassion, kindness, and empathy. The team used a number of different strategies to deliver this material, including teaching, modeling from staff, role plays, and art-based methods. Here is an example of how the team used art to explain the concept of empathy. And this is an example of the mental health toolkit the staff and the students developed. They had the opportunity to learn and to practice a variety of different coping strategies to manage in moments of high distress. As you can see, the particular coping strategy or strategies for each student has been individualized, demonstrating that each person is unique. In this toolkit, the strategies identified are climbing or play, space, quiet time, video games, music, tapping, and mindfulness. We like for each student to have more than one coping strategy, as is evident in this example. Different strategies work better in different situations. Thank you to the mental health staff for their work this summer and to the ABA team for their continued collaboration and good work. Now I'd like to introduce Principal Kate McKenzie.
Thanks, Sarah. For the 8th year, we offered students entering kindergarten for the first time the opportunity to attend kindergarten camp in all Rainbow schools. This was a half-day program that ran for 4 mornings from August 28th to 31st. This year, we had 479 students attend kindergarten camp in Rainbow schools, our largest number to date. Families dropped off students for 9 a.m. and picked up their child at 12 p.m. Kindergarten camp was designed to introduce children and families to Rainbow schools. We wanted to support children in transitioning from home to school and give our youngest learners time to settle into their new learning environment. Through their experience at the camp, children were introduced to some of the staff and became familiar with typical routines. We knew that this experience would help children become excited about learning and support them in developing new friendships. It also gave students an opportunity to become more independent in learning by living and playing in different environments. This year, kindergarten camp was offered at 21 Rainbow schools, with locations in Sudbury and Manitoulin Island. Some sites ran multiple classes, including Churchill Public School, which ran 2 classrooms, CVDCS, which ran 2 classrooms, McLeod Public School, which ran 2 classrooms, Northeastern, which had 2 classrooms, RLBD, which had 3 classrooms, Walden Public School, which had 2 classrooms, and Valley View Public School, which had 2 classrooms. The program for R.H. Murray Public School was hosted by Walden Public School due to construction. As well, LaSalle Elementary School had 2 classes that were hosted by Westmount Avenue Public School due to construction. It was still a valuable opportunity for those students to meet their peers and form friendships prior to starting at R.H. Murray Public School and LaSalle Elementary in September. A number of staff were part of the program, including 31 teachers, 15 designated early childhood educators, and 11 educational assistants. Several staff had participated in kindergarten camp throughout the years. Kindergarten camp was led by qualified Rainbow teachers. Where more than 15 children were enrolled, the program also included a designated early childhood educator. Throughout the morning, children engaged in many of the activities typically experienced in kindergarten. They had the opportunity to participate in literacy and numeracy activities and had large blocks of time to explore the classroom and play. They engaged in outdoor inquiries and activities. The program also included a healthy snack each day, which was provided by their parents. Teachers communicated with parents through Seesaw, Facebook, and email. The Kindergarten Camp Facebook page was also updated with student photos throughout the week. At the end of kindergarten camp, parents completed a survey, and we received 61 responses. 75.8% of parents strongly agreed that their child was more prepared to attend kindergarten in September as a result of attending kindergarten camp. These post-camp results show that parents were happy with the experience and that they felt their children were more prepared for school entry. Again, here is a breakdown of some of the survey results. When asked, would you recommend kindergarten camp to other parents? 100% of parents responded yes. The next 2 slides capture how parents we surveyed felt about kindergarten camp experience. Here's a reflection. As a mother to 3 with my first attending school this year and having never gone to daycare, this was obviously a very sensitive, nerve-wracking time for both myself and my son. This was the perfect opportunity for him and I to get used to the new routine and get a feel for the school days, as well as the general environment he would be in. I'm so thankful to have had this opportunity for him. Another reflection is, I'm so glad I signed up my child for kindergarten camp, as he was anxious about starting school, but this program helped put him at ease and was actually very excited for his first day. The teachers and helpers were so nice as well. It was a great opportunity for our little one to be introduced to the school without being there for the full days. It really helped ease the transition from daycare to school. We also asked our full-time kindergarten teachers what impact kindergarten camp had on the children who attended. Here's a quote from one of the educators. Kindergarten camp is a wonderful opportunity to get to know our new learners and introduce them to what school life is all about. It is essential for the parents and students to have this time just for them to adjust to school life. The educators get to know the students and family, making the transition so much smoother. Kindergarten camp benefited our students immensely. It smoothed the transition from home to school and welcomed students and parents into the Rainbow family. I want to thank our tremendous staff for making kindergarten camp so successful and transitioning our youngest learners to school with ease and excitement. This brings our presentation regarding kindergarten camp to a close. I'd now like to introduce Carrie Wilson. Carrie was the principal of the Code Summer Learning Program and is the vice principal at Sudbury Secondary School.
Thank you, Kate. The Code Summer Learning Program ran for its 14th year in our board. The program was funded through CODE, which is the Council of Ontario Directors of Education. The goals of the program are to minimize summer learning loss by providing an extended school year and an additional instruction for students who may have required further development in basic literacy skills, engage parents and guardians, and develop self-confidence and well-being with our students. This year, we hosted 8 classes at 4 sites, which included Lansdowne Public School, Adamsdale Public School, Chelmsford Valley District Composite School, and Little Current Public School. We served 154 students from 25 different schools across Rainbow District School Board. Program leads included Kim Yagnich, Lindsay Kaleri, Laura Pogue, and Casey Boisvert. Their work was key in the implementation of programming, professional development, and day-to-day management of each site. Each classroom was staffed with a literacy teacher and 2 post-secondary student mentors who supported the learning in the classroom. Each site was also staffed with a special education resource teacher and an educational assistant. Indigenous support worker Eugenia Ishgagogan supported the program to incorporate Indigenous content and teachings throughout. While CODE allocated funding for 5 classes, collaborative efforts with our special education department, Indigenous education, and tutoring funds made it possible to extend our program to 8 classes and support our level of staffing, which is really second to none. I can't say enough about the incredible staff that we had this year. Each day culminated with a recreation component which promoted the physical health and mental well-being of students. The daily schedule included small group learning led by teachers and student mentors. One-on-one conferencing was also scheduled to address specific learning needs. The program offered a low instructor-to-student ratio of 1:4 or less at all times. This allowed for intensive interventions in the 3-week period of the program. Each day began with time for all participants to connect, build relationships, and establish a positive learning environment. A daily detailed schedule was followed to maximize learning time with consistent delivery of high-yield teaching strategies. The goal is to make a significant impact on student learning in a short 14-day period of time and have fun while doing it. Our literacy program focused on specific areas to address reading development in the elementary grades. In the primary grades, students developed proficiency with learning to read. We focused specifically on the development of decoding skills, and teachers dug deeper to uncover learning gaps with phonics and sight words. In the junior grades, there was a greater emphasis on reading to learn. The focus was on the development of reading comprehension skills. The junior division worked to develop skills in summarizing nonfiction texts. Additionally, learning gaps were identified with sound knowledge and addressed to meet individual needs. Results for reading development for the primary division are shown here. There was an average growth of 11.35% in letter sounds and sound combinations, or 8 sounds per student. For high-frequency words, there was an average growth of 9.62%, or 10 words per student. Results for junior reading development are shown here. There was an average growth of 12.75% in letter sounds and sound combinations, or 9 sounds per student. This is significant, as these improvements mark the closing of gaps and correction of misunderstandings of sound knowledge for our junior students. For reading comprehension, 94% of students demonstrated growth as measured by the benchmark assessment system. And our parents from grades 1 to 6 evaluated their literacy learning with an average score of 8.7 out of 10. In addition to making significant gains in literacy skills, students enjoyed a highly engaging program. A theme of Splash into Summer Learning was selected for the program. A tradition of visiting the Splash Park weekly is a highly anticipated and enjoyed activity by the students. This set the stage for our theme, which was divided into weekly sub-themes focusing on water. Dive in, explore, and protect. These weekly sub-themes guided learning material selections, incentive programs, social media contests, home community connections, and Indigenous cultural connections and content. Week 1 began with a theme of diving into learning with fishing for phonics and using water-themed daily shared reading. The students also dove in, as you can see, with the photo submission for the social media challenge. And one of our students was captured submerged in a book en route to the splash pad. For the second week, we explored under the sea by reading about sea creatures and reeled students in with Shark Week. So many engaging learning and recreational activities were planned, and our students loved it. At the Lansdowne site, students helped Bruce the shark learn how to be a better shark by sharing new words and facts with him. He also joined in for lots of fun, as you'll see in this short reel. Also pictured up on the screen, on the top right, 2 boys were immersed in a shark book waiting for the day to begin. The one boy's mom purchased the book with the previous night, as he was so intrigued by Shark Week. Week 3 was Protect. All classrooms dove into the book, We Are the Water Protectors, to reflect on their own roles as stewards of the earth and water. This book offered an Indigenous perspective, telling the story of an Ojibwe girl and her fight to protect the water supply for her community. Students took the pledge to be water protectors throughout this final week of the program. Students were always seen to be on task and eager to participate in these educational and fun activities. Our recreation program was delivered daily from 1 to 2 p.m. Our focus this year was to provide engaging activities to promote physical and mental well-being for our students. The student mentors led this portion of the day, and they did a phenomenal job. Pictured above is a student wearing a medicine pouch that he made, as well as water-themed activities, playing Fishy Fishy Cross My Ocean, designing their own fishing rods, creating sea creatures, and of course, enjoying the local splash pad. This was also a time for teachers to conference with students about their learning in a one-on-one setting. Guest presentations by local community members and organizations were a hit with the students during the recreational time as well. These included visits from the Sudbury Five, Let's Talk Science from Cambrian College, the OPP Police Canine Unit, and Manitoulin Streams. Overall, students surveyed rated their experience with the recreation program as a 9 out of 10. Eugenia Ishkagagun was the Indigenous support worker with the summer learning program, and she was a valuable member of the team and supported the program in various ways. She connected with families who identified as First Nation, Métis, or Inuit to introduce herself and offer her support. She helped start the morning across the program with her daily morning messages, with the Word of the Day videos, and worked in classes to support the daily morning mindfulness time by leading sharing circles and conducting smudges to begin the day. I'd like to share with you one of her morning messages which demonstrates how effectively she incorporated Indigenous culture with the weekly theme.
So today's word of the day is something I'm so excited to share with you guys, and I saved it for last, and I'm hoping that you might have thought of this creature that lives in the water. So the word is banabe. So we'll break it down by saying banabe. And what banabe means is that it means mermaid. So again, we know there's a lot of different animals, but we also acknowledge the mermaids that live in our waters. And you're probably thinking, mermaids? Like actual mermaids? There are myths and legends that Anishinaabe people have stories about mermaids. So that's just a little snippet. I hope one day that later on I can share a story similar to about mermaids. But I really hope that everyone has a great day and that, you're able to share this word of the day, which is a really cool word. So hope everyone has a great Friday and getting ready for another fun week next week. Nahau Pamapi.
Eugenia supported literacy programming as well for the junior grades by incorporating the practice of oral storytelling to support the focus of comprehension and summarizing. She also led daily cultural-based programming for the recreation component. One of the goals of the Code Summer Learning Program is to promote parent engagement. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram platforms were used to promote the program and to connect the program with the broader community. More than half of the parents surveyed indicated that they were connected through social media. The Seesaw app was used as a tool for teachers and program leads to communicate with parents and guardians. Our goal this year was to have all families connected, and we achieved that goal, which made it a highly effective means for communication and engagement. In total, there were 188 parents that were signed up with their child's class, which is actually more than one parent per student, with up to 295 parent visits to the site in a day. Parent feedback was very positive regarding the academic and emotional benefits of the program. The first quote indicates, on his first day of the summer program, Alex got off the bus extremely happy, saying it was the best day of school he ever had and now loves school. Thank you to giving my boy his happiness back towards school. Thank you to Lansdowne and the staff that made this a wonderful experience for my son Raymond. He really enjoyed himself and wants to go back next year. In addition, of the 66 respondents, 99% of parents indicated that they'd recommend the summer learning program to other families. To finish off, parents were invited into schools on the final day to celebrate with their children. Fun learning centers, games, and of course, food were enjoyed. At one site, student mentors even planned an outdoor fun fair for everyone to enjoy. All students were given a take-home bag with literacy-based games and books to enjoy for the remainder of the summer. Overall, parent feedback was very positive, as expressed by one parent to the survey question which asked how we could improve the program. She said, "Honestly, I think it's an amazing program. I don't have much to add, but things to consider could be possibly changing the name. It has such a bad rap when you say summer learning program. I guess that's food for thought that perhaps we've outgrown our name." The Code Summer Learning Program benefits our schools and communities in many ways. Aside from the academic gains, schools benefit from instructional supplies purchased through the program, which enhance learning throughout the school year. The logo featured on our social media and t-shirts for staff and students was designed by Sudbury Secondary School Media Arts students, Avery Trudeau-Clark and Peyton Morin. This was the second year of the logo design contest, which is incorporated into the media design class under the direction of their teacher, Stefan Ostrander. This authentic experience has given secondary school students an opportunity to see their work come to life, build their personal portfolios, and build their confidence. This brings to a close our presentation of the Code Summer Learning Program. I'd now like to introduce Richard Duffy. He is a numeracy consultant with the board and was the site lead of the Intermediate Summer Learning Program.
Thank you, Carrie. Rainbow District School Board has offered a summer program for grades 7 and 8 students since July 2016. Since its inception, the goals of the program have been to minimize summer learning loss, fill critical gaps in literacy and numeracy learning, support students as they prepare for high school, and help students understand their strengths and needs as learners. This year, we hosted 4 classes, serving 51 students from 17 Rainbow schools. The program was delivered in person at Princess Anne and Little Current Public Schools. Students were bused to and from the program from hubs across Greater Sudbury, Espanola, and Manitoulin Island. The program was supported by a program lead, 4 classroom teachers, a special education resource teacher, a teacher to support students with English language learner needs, and 5 pre-service teachers or mentors. As in the past, literacy and numeracy were the areas of academic focus. In addition to academics, students had the opportunity to participate in experiential learning opportunities such as outdoor education, cooking, and activities connected to the arts. Healthy snacks and lunches were available for students each day. Students also enjoyed an excursion each week to build community and have some fun. Each day of our summer program began with a morning meeting or sharing circle where students were able to share important things happening in their lives and discuss things happening in the community and the world. 2 90-minute instructional blocks, separated by a short nutrition and physical activity break, framed the core of the learning for each day. After lunch, students participated in experiential learning opportunities. This provided teachers some time to pull individual students in small groups to assess students and provide extra help. To prepare for the program, home schools provided reading assessment data so we would be in a better position to customize programming to meet the needs of each student. Summer program staff met a few times in June to analyze the data and complete some initial planning. From that data, 3 clear areas of focus emerged. Some students demonstrated decoding and fluency needs. these students receive daily phonics and phonological awareness instruction. Emphasis was placed on developing word-solving strategies and oral reading practice to build fluency. The ability to make sense of the meaning of unfamiliar words was also identified as an area of concern. All students received daily vocabulary instruction. Rather than simply defining words for students, teachers worked to develop strategies that students could use to figure out or infer the meaning of tricky words themselves. The third area of instructional focus was summarizing nonfiction texts. In almost every subject in high school, students will need to read, make sense of, and respond to informational and procedural texts. The ability to identify important information from these texts is a critical comprehension skill. Beyond just a basic recall or retell, summarizing implies the valuing of details to distill a text down to its essence. This lays an important foundation for the development of critical literacy, where students are asked to respond to, evaluate, and critique the texts they read. Ongoing running records were used to assess the impact of instruction for students with decoding and fluency needs. This means that teachers regularly listened to students read and noted reading behaviors such as accuracy, phrasing, pacing, and attending to punctuation. This allows teachers to gauge whether students are reading with enough comfort and confidence to make meaning. These running records showed growth for all 14 students throughout the course of the program. At the onset of the program, teachers conducted short interviews with students to assess strategies they had to make sense of the meaning of unfamiliar words. Throughout the program, mini lessons and collaborative activities were carefully crafted and implemented to help students build and develop these strategies. By the end of the program, exit interviews revealed that every student was able to identify and apply new strategies to help with difficult vocabulary. Also, as part of the initial reading interview, students orally summarized a nonfiction text at their instructional reading level. Reading comprehension instruction in the program centered around developing and applying a recipe or formula to help students identify important information in nonfiction. This recipe, sometimes called success criteria, was modeled after the one found in Lexia PowerUp, a digital reading intervention tool used in many Rainbow schools. As part of their exit interviews, students orally summarized a different nonfiction text. 49 out of 51 students demonstrated an improved ability to identify important information and organize that information into a logical summary. Based on feedback from grade 7, 8, and 9 mathematics teachers, 3 concept areas were identified as critical to success in intermediate and secondary mathematics. Numbers are the basic building blocks of math. Having well-developed number sense implies that students are able to represent numbers in multiple forms, that they have a good sense of the value of numbers, and are able to work flexibly with numbers in a variety of ways. If numbers are the basic building blocks, operations are the mortar that binds them. Students who struggle with adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing whole numbers tend to really struggle when operations with decimals, fractions, and integers are introduced through the junior and intermediate grades. Sorry, I'm a little congested today. When grade 9 teachers are asked about concepts that are extremely important to success in secondary mathematics, integers are always near the top of the list. Introduced in grade 6, this new number system is often very challenging for students who are still struggling with fundamental number sense and basic operations. Before the program began, students completed a diagnostic comprised of questions designed to gauge student proficiency across these concept areas. This diagnostic was administered using Knowledge Hook, an electronic mathematics assessment platform used by many boards across Ontario. We have used similar diagnostic assessments for the past few years to allow teachers to prepare for our program. It is worth noting the student average for the 2023 cohort was 15% higher than in any other year. This speaks to the outstanding work being done by Rainbow educators during the regular school year. When numeracy teachers and mentors met throughout June, they were able to use this valuable information to group students and plan for remediation. Teachers were able to use the diagnostic information to provide precise interventions for each student. Leaps and bounds toward mathematics understanding, a comprehensive scaffolded intervention tool aligned with the Ontario Math curriculum, was used to support small group and individual mini lessons. Mental math mini lessons and games provided important practice opportunities. A parallel Knowledge Hook assessment, same questions but different numbers, was administered at the end of the program. By keeping the focus narrow and using precise interventions to address specific gaps, significant growth was noted across all three concept areas. The smaller gains in number sense and operations are directly attributable to the fact that several students scored 100% in both the pre and post assessments for these concepts. When comparing the overall pre and post assessment scores, every student improved and the average increase was 15%. As in the past, our program incorporated valuable learning opportunities outside of the scope of literacy and numeracy. Each week focused on a different experiential learning opportunity. In week 1, students participated in outdoor cooperative games. Led by 2 of our mentors with considerable coaching experience and physical education backgrounds, these activities centered around building collaboration, leadership, and critical thinking skills. In week 2, students engaged in cooking classes. Led by 2 mentors with culinary experience, students prepared healthy mini meals and a few treats too. Afterward, of course, students were able to enjoy the fruits of their labors and were able to bring some home to share with their families as well. On week 3, 2 mentors led activities related to the arts. These activities allowed students to express their creativity using various forms of media. Students completed self-portraits, participated in some drama and dance, and were able to paint on canvas. Painting on canvas was a new experience for many students, and everyone participated and enjoyed it. During the period of experiential learning, teachers were able to pull students to assess them individually and provide personalized one-on-one instruction. One of the components that we were very proud to continue this year was our financial literacy component. Throughout the program, students were required to keep an updated bank account. As happens in life, students earned money when they showed up each day ready to work. Throughout the day, they were able to earn more money through positive participation and acts of good citizenship. Also, just like in real life, students had to pay for things out of their earnings. They had to rent their desks, iPads and Chromebooks, and any other school supplies that were provided. Throughout the program, students updated the debits and credits and balanced their bank books daily. At the end of the program, students were able to spend their money at a well-stocked SLP stores set up by staff. Our store was stocked with products we thought would be helpful for the upcoming school year. The store contained many school supplies and personal care products. Of course, we also made sure there were some treats and fun, sporty, and crafty items that students could enjoy with their family and friends. The students were very appreciative of the items they were able to purchase with their earnings. Again this year, we thought it would be important to provide some experiences that students might not otherwise be able to enjoy. We brought students to the YMCA where they had a swim and participated in gym games organized by YMCA staff. We also brought them to CUP, where students enjoyed several games of laser tag and a pizza lunch. On the final day of the program, students were treated to a movie complete with popcorn and pop at Imagine Cinemas. These excursions were provided with no cost to families. Throughout this presentation, information and data has been shared that demonstrates the efficacy and effectiveness of the program. This data, I think, speaks volumes about the staff and their ability to build quality relationships with students in a short period of time. Students who attended the program had to complete a survey. By the end of the program, 92.2% of students were happy they attended. More importantly, every student was able to identify a specific concept, skill, or strategy in both literacy and math that they learned in the program. The students indicated that they enjoyed the experiential learning opportunities and excursions as well. We are constantly looking to improve, so we decided this year to ask parents for feedback as well. Voluntary surveys were sent electronically to families in the final week. 33 families, or about 65%, took the time to respond. As you can see, families were deeply impressed and grateful for the opportunity to participate in intermediate SLP. Nearly all families indicated that the experience was a positive one for their child, and every family noticed improvement and said they would recommend the program to other families. We had far too many positive comments to share them all, but the quote on the bottom was the one that resonated with staff. With caring and engaging staff, accurate assessment, and focused instruction and support, we share the belief that every student can demonstrate vast improvement in a short amount of time. I'd like to now introduce Nicole Nicholas Beyer to speak about Indigenous summer learning programs.
Thank you, Richard. Indigenous Summer Learning Programs saw enrollment of 34 Indigenous students from Shishigwaning First Nation, Whitefish River First Nation, and Sudbury Secondary School. The experiential learning opportunities that were integrated throughout the summer learning programs consisted of outdoor education, cooking, arts, cultural learning, community experiences, and Anishinaabe-Moan. The summer learning program within Whitefish River First Nation included Anishinaabe-Moan. First Nation communities have long identified Ojibwe language as a priority, and many communities have been working to provide meaningful and ongoing opportunities for effective language learning. Anishinaabe-Moan has also been identified as a priority within the Rainbow District School Board Truth and Reconciliation, a Commitment to Action Plan. Rainbow District School Board and Whitefish River First Nation engaged in a collaborative partnership to create community-based opportunities for language learning within the summer learning program. The community-based learning program opportunities included learning and using language to cook, gather wood, build fires, listen and retell stories, create videos incorporating the language, engaging in culture, explore the place names associated with the territory, and learn the stories associated with those place names. Students were also responsible for engaging with community members, elders, and documenting or showing what they learned about language using technology or other mediums, including song, art, and videos. Shishiguaning First Nation, in collaboration with Water First and Rainbow District School Board, offered unique learning opportunities for students to earn a grade 11 environmental science and a grade 9 geography credit through Reach Ahead programming. The students from Shishiguaning had the opportunity to learn about the technical components related to water, including testing water, identifying various species that exist in different water locations, and water treatment. They also engaged key learning and understanding related to caring for the water. The career studies and civics and citizenship courses were offered at Sudbury Secondary School through Reach Ahead programming. The Reach Ahead courses allowed the incoming grade 9 students to take these courses to obtain credits before they start the regular school year. By completing a compulsory course prior to the start of high school, the students will have a greater choice of elective courses in their grade 9 experience. The Reach Ahead program also creates the opportunity for new students to ease the transition from elementary to secondary school. Sudbury Secondary School program opened with a traditional ceremony in which students became familiar with each other and learned about traditional medicines and how they can use them in connecting with their identity and culture. The beginning of the program was a perfect opportunity to engage in an outdoor learning activity, creating a large dream catcher. Students became the hoop of the dream catcher, strong, flexible, able to flow with the change, and learning as they went along within the activity. Creating the web gave the students an opportunity to interact, but also time to think about aspirations and setting goals. Students engaged in creating their own personal political profiles throughout the program and were excited to complete group projects of Indigenous and in various areas that were of interest and meaning to them. Learning about Indigenous role models while exploring civic engagement. Other hands-on activities in the careers portion included job applications, mock interviews, and the creation of a personal individual dream catcher. A field trip to Whitefish River First Nation, Dreamers Rock, and Bell Rocks culminated both programs. I'd now like to turn it over to Principal Dave St. Amour to speak about Sudbury Secondary School.
Thank you, Nicole. Based on the success of previous years, this is the 10th year offering a summer Rainbow e-learning program. The Ontario Secondary School Literacy course was also delivered fully through e-learning, and 1, 2, and 3 credit co-op options were available. This year saw course offerings for credit recovery, and for the 4th year, students could upgrade a passing mark if they wanted to improve the mark through a summer upgrade course. 4 students took advantage of the opportunity to obtain post-secondary acceptance as a result of the upgraded mark. The new credits in the programs for Indigenous learners that was previously discussed by Nicole were also granted through the secondary summer school and are included in the credit totals and data. There is continued growth in student participation in summer programs over time since e-learning, blended learning, and expanded co-op opportunities were introduced 10 years ago. It is interesting to note that registrations for summer programs have more than doubled over 10 years, with 581 registrations in 2023, compared to 248 registrations in 2013. This 234% increase over 10 years is a result of the number of students who are taking advantage of opportunities to reach ahead with e-learning and cooperative education credits during the summer to earn new credits. It is important to note that the majority of students registering in Rainbow Summer Programming are from the Rainbow Board. When we look at the breakdown of Rainbow students to students of other boards, you can see that 85% of students registrants are from Rainbow schools. This percentage is consistent with the previous 5 years. The greatest number of student summer school registrants from outside the Rainbow Board has traditionally been from the Sudbury Catholic District School Board due to participation in our credit recovery course offerings. The number of students from other boards has been decreasing for 3 years due to those boards offering expanded summer e-learning opportunities and more students opting to take summer e-learning with their home board. Now, with our participation in the Provincial E-Learning Consortium, our summer e-learning program makes it easy for students from across the province to access Rainbow summer programs. And we saw an increase in registrations from a number of other boards for e-learning for the second year in a row, and the registrations from the other boards was the highest it has been in the last 5 years. Of the 666.5 credits that were attempted and completed over the summer, you can see that 634 credits were earned. This is a slight increase over last year's credits earned and represents a 204% increase in credits earned compared to the 310 credits that were earned 10 years ago in 2013. This year, there was a 95% pass rate, which is consistent with last year and consistent with the 10-year average pass rate of 95%. The high pass rate shows the commitment that students and teachers give to their program over the summer and how well they are matched with student interest and need. Post-pandemic summer programming continues to prove to be a match to student needs and interests and has resulted in significant student achievement. The slight increase in credits earned can be attributed to the addition of programs specifically designed for Indigenous learners. It should be noted that 85% of students participating from Rainbow account for 589.5 or 88.4% of the 666.5 credits that were attempted, and 590 or 91.5% of the 634 credits that were earned. The continuation of face-to-face interaction for the second year post-pandemic directly correlates to the increased overall success rate of credit recovery programming in summer school. The traditional style summer program, which provides in-class instruction, greatly benefits students who are struggling. It is worth noting that recovering failed credits is the smallest component of the secondary summer school, accounting for only 8.3% of all credits attempted during the summer. Generally, trends show that students are most likely to attempt to recover credits in math, science, and English over the summer, and participation rates in credit recovery are highest in junior math and junior English. It should also be noticed that 2 students earned their diploma because of summer credit recovery this year. This was our 9th year running our very own Rainbow e-learning summer school. As you can see, our students experienced outstanding success with 100 credits granted and a 77% pass rate. The e-learning courses account for 19.4% of all the credits attempted during our summer program. Summer e-learning courses are all new credit courses, and the most requested course in the summer is English. E-learning provides reach-ahead opportunities for students in both the college and university pathways, and provides opportunities for students to graduate on time or if they are short a credit. It also provides an opportunity for students to meet their diploma literacy requirement by taking the Ontario Literacy course via e-learning. In 2023, 449 co-op credits were attempted and 448 credits were earned, making co-op the largest component of the summer programming and accounting for 67.4% of all credits attempted and 70.6% of all credits earned during our summer program. Co-op credits taken in summer school are all new credit courses. These credits represent reach-ahead opportunities for students in both the college and university pathways, as well as opportunities for students to graduate on time if they are short elective credits. There were 10 students this year that earned diplomas because of summer co-op. In disaggregating the success rate of particular subgroups of the participating population, you can see that all groups of students were successful over the summer at a rate of upwards of 80%. Interesting trends emerged. We had 16% of summer participants identified to be at risk by their home schools. 18% of our participants were First Nation, Métis, and Inuit students. 22% of our students were identified with special needs, and 56% of the participants were in grade 11 or 12. The last trend is very telling for us, as it shows the demand for summer school opportunities for our senior students, as well as the demand for reach-ahead opportunities for our junior students. As you can see in this slide, Rainbow Secondary Summer Programs are having the desired impact. This summer, we were able to graduate an additional 12 students. 2 students graduated because we offered credit recovery courses, and 10 students graduated because we offered cooperative education. In total, there's been 179 students that have been able to graduate through participation in summer school programs since 2013. The number of initiatives implemented and continued this summer have had a significant impact on student success and student credit accumulation. Part of the measure of success of this program and these new initiatives is the number of students that have been put back on track to graduate and deemed less at risk as a result of their participation. I'd like to thank you very much for supporting the growth and development of our Rainbow Summer programs as we work to improve the opportunities for Rainbow students to experience success. At this point, myself as well as any of the other presenters would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Dave. Are there any questions for our presenters? Trustee Honda.
Thank you, Chair Clement. Through you to all of our presenters, how impressive. I can't begin to tell you how much I enjoy these presentations. It is so encouraging for me to see the growth in these programs, some that have the remarkable growth since they've been here for us, but it's so incredible to see all the new programs and new initiatives that we're offering. It is wonderful for me to see the success rates that are coming up and all the positive comments. It is so wonderful to see the buy-in and the positive comments from parents, and most particularly to me, the important is our learners and how positively they are taking and enjoying these programs. All that being said, of course, none of this could happen without an incredible lot of work from all of it, a large number of staff. And on behalf of myself, I would like to thank each and every one of you and all the staff that worked so hard. Clearly, they're people that love their jobs and love our students and love teaching, and the innovative ideas that we see on here that created an environment where our students wanted to go every day in the summer is just remarkable to me. And every year I look forward to this, and I thank you each and every one of you. Please take it back to everyone that was involved, that I sincerely appreciate all you do for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Honda. Trustee Farrell.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the floor. I just wanted to echo the comments that Trustee Honda made. I am so absolutely impressed by the leadership of this group here. The work that you've done during the summer, during that wonderful time when a lot of people are vacationing, that you put in for the students of the Rainbow District School Board, and the success that they've demonstrated is really very much appreciated. So I just wanted to say thank you to that. Now I have to tell you, it was a bit bad during the presentation because I did text Bruce the Shark, and I told him that his mom did a great job in presentation today. So and then I asked him how he was doing at school too, Carrie, at the same time. So, but wonderful to see so many former students still participating in the program. I did have one question, and I don't know if it's going to be Dave, sorry, Principal Santamore can answer it for me, or maybe Superintendent Gilbo. Talking about e-learning and those 15% of the kids that take courses from Rainbow outside of our board. How's that paid for? I think I know the answer, but I'd like to hear how that is funded.
All the students that participate in e-learning during the summer school, whether they're Rainbow or outside of other boards, all become part of our register, and they generate funding for our board to provide the programs.
Yeah. Thank you. That's what I thought. That's what I was wondering. Appreciate it. Once again, thank you to each and every one of you. Great job. Great applause from all of us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Trustee Farrell. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Cosmely.
I also want to echo what my fellow trustees have said. Excellent presentations, very thorough, and thank you to everyone who took part in the summer. I have one question for Principal Williamson. Sorry, I just want to call you Danielle.
That's okay, too.
Just a question, you had talked about the summer transition program that ran for 10 days to deal with anxiety.
It didn't run for 10 days. There was a period of time between the 21st and 31st. So schools tended to take advantage of either identifying one day that they were going to run the program, and some schools ran them over 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to know whether some of the students that are usually part of SAL engage in any of that. I know from my experience in SAL, and I haven't done SAL in a while, a number of those students usually are out of school doing a different type of learning because they have problems with anxiety. Do you find that some of those students are the ones that would engage in some of these summer programs that would deal with anxiety?
Well, I would say that if the school had been working with the student and the family in June for a re-entry to school, that those would be the students, those would include SAL students that they might want to reach ahead to and see if they could participate in some of those transition activities.
Trustee Lisa.
Thank you, Chair Calmont. Couple things. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation and great work over the summer. I, like fellow trustees, I echo the efforts that have been put into the programming for the hard work over the summer. I am so thankful to see Indigenous summer programming put into place and a number of students earning credits for Native language and the credits in science and geography and civics and careers. That's wonderful work with those kids. I love to see that it is being offered on Manitoulin. I wondered if there were any non-First Nation students involved from Manitoulin as well with some of the summer credits.
I don't think there was in relation to the language programming, and I don't believe all of the students who are First Nation, Inuit, or Métis within the summer school programming for specific to Indigenous programs.
Thank you. Okay. And second question, your civics and careers in the past, some of the curriculum content of it did not incorporate First Nations political systems. Has that been corrected in the curriculum we're offering?
I can't speak to what was in the day-to-day learning, but I do know that there was inclusion within some of the content that we provided board-wide related to careers and civics programs.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, Mr. Green, Trustee Green.
Thank you. Just a question, I think, for about all the programs. Are they free for parents and students, or are they funded by the parents and students?
All the programming offered during the summertime is done through either funding through code or generates its own funding, and there's no cost for any of the programs for any of the parents during the summer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to see all these programs being offered to these students. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Trustee Dewar.
So this is my favorite presentation. Every year, it's my favorite presentation until I have the next presentation. It's amazing what is being done. And I just want to offer my sincere thank you on behalf of all the parents and all the students. That's who we really impact, and much appreciated. Yeah, the plethora of stimulating activities that you provide
that is provided provides the incentives to motivate our students to attend in spite of the name. So I thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Questions? We're good? Everybody has said everything I've ever wanted to say, but I want to thank you all for the presenters, to the people who put all these programs together, and to say that we're idle in the summers, that's not true. We're very busy, and it's nice to see. So thank you very much to everyone. Thank you. Now we go on. We have no report from a closed meeting of the board or business. We have a previous meeting, motion that the minutes of the regular board meeting held on Tuesday, August 29, 23 be approved. Mover? Trustee Hunda? Seconder? Trustee Corbier Addison? Any questions? Thank you. Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement.
In favor?
Trustee Corbier Addison.
In favor?
Trustee Dubosky.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor?
Trustee Farrow. Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor?
Trustee Cosmley.
In favor?
Student Trustee Green.
In favor?
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. We now have reports and recommendations from board committees, and I'll hand this over to Superintendent Guilbeault.
Thank you, Chair Clement. In the packages provided to you today, you'll find a board report for our external audit for the 2022-23 year ending August 31st. This report will look familiar as in years past and references the requirements set out by the Ministry of Education for approval. It also outlines the specifics of what the audit is focused on, identifying key risk areas in accordance with ministry regulations. With that information, we are presenting the following motion: that the 2022-2023 external audit plan be approved as recommended by the audit committee.
Thank you. So we have a motion that the 2022-2023 external audit plan be approved as recommended by the audit committee. I need a mover, please. Trustee Dewar. Seconded by Trustee Hunda. Any questions? Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement.
In favor.
Trustee Corbier Addison.
In favor?
Trustee Dubosky.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor?
Trustee Farrow.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor?
Trustee Cosmley.
In favor?
Student Trustee Green.
In favor?
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. We move on to new business. We move on to something that we have to do, trustee vacancy. I'll hand it over to the Director to provide the information that we need for tonight.
Thank you, Chair Clement. In your package for this evening, you have an appendix. One is a briefing note, which is from the City of Sudbury regarding by-elections to fill Area 4 and a secondary option. You also have an Appendix B that's based on some past practice, some advice from the Ontario Public School Boards Association, and from some conversation with another board. So I'll just provide a bit of a summary of these two documents. So in the briefing notes from the City of Sudbury, and just for your point of reference, this would relate to option A under F1 for your consideration. There's information in here about the process for a by-election. Area 4 encompasses wards 7 and 8 of the city of Greater Sudbury, as well as the municipalities. And there are several: Killarney, French River, Marks Day, Warren, and St. Charles. And then a collection of unorganized townships being Davis, Cox, Eden, Hawley, Henry, James, Laura, Logren, Secord, Servos, Street, and Tilton. The city would like to share with us that should the decision be made to hold a by-election versus appointing, that by-elections would need to take place in each of these areas. Also, the unorganized townships would have to run a separate by-election. It goes on to say in this summary, in essence, this would result in 6 separate election events taking place, each with their own associated costs. The overview goes on to talk about the requirements and refers to Section 65 of the Municipal Elections Act that provides direction to the clerk of the municipality for the conduct of any of the by-elections to be held. It also shares some information about voting methods and opportunities, which would include advanced online voting period, a paper ballot voting on a designated voting day, and also the opportunity for attendance at long-term care and retirement facilities. The report also shares that given that Area 4 covers 2 wards, some of the requirements they said would be approximately 5 medium-sized voting locations, each of which would require several different things, and it goes on to list items such as the number of registrations, number of barcode scanners, 4 printers, ballot boxes, voting screens, and 8 election staff. And this is with regard to the city. In addition, the report states that there would also be 1 voting location at a long-term care facility, and it goes on to share again some of the requirements for that to operate, such as registration, barcode scanners, printers, and again, ballot boxes, votes, and election staff. So the report then goes on to a cost breakdown. It does share that in a regular election, the municipality absorbs all costs for conducting an election, including a school board election. It does also say, though, however, in the case of a by-election, under 7.3 on that second page, that they do expect to be reimbursed for its reasonable costs in situations such as when the clerk has to conduct a by-election for a local board. This would apply to our case. Having said that, the report goes on to share a breakdown of estimated costs of holding a 2-ward by-election to fill the vacancy in Area 4. It does note that these costs would be in addition to those incurred by municipalities. So French River, Killarney, Marks Day, Warren, St. Charles, and the organized townships would be additional costs over and above the estimate that you see in the package. It breaks down some of the costs for the ward in general, estimated for paper ballots, and goes on to give costs for a variety of different pieces that I know you've reviewed, and I won't read all, but I will say that the total in this area for the paper ballot is $145,844. It talks about staff costs being approximately $85,000. Costs for conduct and implementation at $64,200, and a total estimate would be $295,045. And then the report reminds that this would be in addition to any costs associated with running by-elections in those municipalities once again. So we don't have a cost estimate for that, but it'd be fair to say that we'd be over $300,000, and that's just facts for your consideration. The report from the city also states that there is a second option for filling a vacancy by appointment, and it goes on to share some of the criteria that a by-election is not required to fill a vacancy on the board. A new trustee may be appointed to fill the vacated seat, and in accordance with the act, if the majority of the positions are filled, then the board can appoint. That does apply to us. The majority of positions on our board are filled. It references Section 38, speaking to the required qualifications for a person to be appointed, and a process that the secretary of the board would follow at a meeting to select a person to fill the vacancy. So that is the option B that's in there. Goes on in 38.1 on the final page to say the candidates declared elected to the school board may appoint a person to fill it, which is once again a bit of repeating of some of the other information. Also, if there's more than one person nominated to fill a vacancy, that the secretary of the school board shall take a vote to determine which person shall fill it. It also talks about should there be, who fills the vacancy and the process for votes. That should it come to a vote in this case, the person who receives more than half the votes fills the vacancy. Further to that, if no person receives more than half the votes, then the secretary shall take another vote, and it will exclude the person who received the fewest votes. If there's a tie for fewest votes, it'll be chosen to be excluded by lot until that process repeats itself, until one candidate receives a majority of the votes. So that is a summary of the first document, and that's for consideration. It covers option A in your agenda, and also option B. The second document, Appendix B, is prepared for you also for your consideration. And once again, this is based on some past practice, conversations with OPSPA, and a conversation with another board. That should option B be the decision of the board this evening, that there'd be a news release regarding the vacancy and trustee appointment process. That'd be issued to area local media, posted on the board website on Wednesday, September 27th, which is tomorrow. Should this be the option, the vacancy would be advertised board website, Facebook, media outlets, online, and the vacancy notice would be sent to all schools for sharing with school councils. This part of the appendix also shares Section 219 of the Education Act. In terms of qualifications, it states a person is qualified to be elected as a member of a district school board or school authority if the person is qualified to vote for members of that district school board or that school authority and is resident in its area of jurisdiction. Applicants must meet following requirements. They must be a Canadian citizen, be at least 18 years old, not legally prohibited from voting, and is not disqualified by any legislation from holding school board office, and that can include situations such as if the person's an employee of the board, and also a public school elector. Applicants who qualify in accordance with this section would provide their complete contact information. This would of course be communicated in the process should you choose to go this route. That includes addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, recent criminal background checks, and proof of qualifications in accordance to Section 219(1) of the Ed Act, with 2 letters of support and a resume. Applicants would also provide a covering letter highlighting the following: interest in public education, commitment to student achievement and well-being, understanding of the role of the trustee, willingness to comply with the policies and administrative procedures of Rainbow District School Board, as well as its governance bylaws, policies, and procedures for trustees, and the ability to commit the time required to fulfill the role of trustee. Community involvement and volunteerism, prior experience in education, and experience on a corporate board would be considered assets. Should this be the route taken, the Director of Education and Secretary of the Board, which is in this case myself, would accept applications until 4 p.m. on Tuesday, October 17th. This would provide for just about 3 weeks of replies. It would go on to list where the applications would be submitted. Of note, confirmation of receipt of applications would be sent to the applicant by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, October 18th. There would also be a process to verify qualifications of applicants prior to 4 p.m. on Friday, October 20th. And if someone whose qualifications could not be verified, they'd be notified immediately at the email address they provide. Names and addresses of all applicants would be recorded in a report to the board and presented at the meeting of the board on Tuesday, October 24th. This would also be posted on the board website. We also make sure that everyone's aware that Rainbow District School Board is governed by the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, and as such would serve notice to all applicants that all resumes would be posted on the board website as part of the trustee appointment process. Any information being provided in strict confidence must be clearly marked as confidential. And then on Tuesday, October 24th, 2023, a committee of the whole board would consider the applications at a closed meeting and bring forward a motion to appoint a candidate at the open meeting of the board. Trustees would then vote on that motion. The successful applicant would be sworn in at the Rainbow District School Board office or local court office no later than 4 p.m. on Friday, November 17th, and then would subsequently assume the role and responsibilities of trustee. The trustee would then participate in a board organizational meeting on November 21st, 2023. So those are some of the backup that Chair Clement would like me to review with you. I would share with you that because there are two options on the table, there is two sets of motions, one for option A. So should your decision be that you'd like to see a by-election, you would vote for the motion under option A in favor, and you would vote, should it be necessary, not in favor of any motion under option B. Should you choose to support the option of an appointment process, you would vote not in favor of option A, and then vote in favor of the motions under option B, and that's to provide trustees in this board the opportunity to select which process they would like to see. And of course, it's a democratic process, and that would yield the outcome that we will follow and take your direction for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. So hopefully you have all that information that you need, everything that you need. So we'll go on then with option A, that we have a motion that the trustee's vacancy position be filled by a by-election. Need a mover, please? Trustee Honda.
Chair Clement, I am voting in favor, but could I please, I want to just say something.
Okay, we're not voting just yet, just need a seconder for.
Okay.
I need a seconder there, please.
A seconder there.
No. We don't have a seconder? Do we have a seconder? Seconder?
Trustee
need
Trustee Gibson, I'll second it.
Yeah, Trustee Gibson, I have you. Okay, Trustee Honda, question.
Thank you, Chair Clement, because I'm really, one of my questions, a part of my question is I'm not sure that I want to be a mover. Through you, Chair Clement, to Director Bourget, am I clear that we will be voting on both motions then? So we have to have both motions on the floor? Suppose no one had moved this motion.
So it's good that the motion is moved so it can be discussed and decided upon.
Okay.
At this point, the motion on the floor that could be voted on in just a moment is that the trustee vacancy position would be filled by a by-election. Should the majority of trustees accept that, the other motions would now become a moot point because you've already selected your option. Should this motion not receive the majority of votes, then that would indicate that we go to option B, and those motions would then be considered. And should the majority of votes be in favor of those motions for the appointment process, that would be the direction the board gives us as staff to move forward.
Okay.
So the summary, I guess, for everyone is, if you're in favor of the by-election, you're going to vote yes to this motion that is now on the floor. If you're in favor of the appointment process, you're going to vote no for the motion that is on the floor now, and you're going to vote yes for the motions under option B that follow.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Point of information.
One second, Trustee Honda, you have another question?
Just a supplementary.
Point of information.
1 second, Trustee Gibson.
Go ahead.
My apologies, because I don't know whether we're operating under Robert's rules or our old rules, so it's confusing to me. That's why I'm using the words point of information. So under Robert's rules, which I assume we're using now, I'm just asking for a point of clarification, which I'm allowed to interrupt, but I do apologize for doing that, Trustee Hunter. Trustee Hunter's original point of clarification, she was asking if she moved the motion, whether she had to vote for it, and I seconded the motion. It's my understanding under Robert's rules that I do not have to vote in favor of the motion, and neither does she. We were just I was just assisting her by getting it onto the floor so that we could have the discussion. So can I just have that clarified, though? That's my understanding from my own training, since we have not undertaken any as a board. So can somebody clarify that for me, and also clarify what rules we're operating under? Thank you.
Thank you.
So through you,
Director.
through Chair Clement. Yes, Trustee Gibson, I did give a very fulsome answer there, and perhaps more information that was required, but I am seeking to make sure that I'm clear. But you are correct that moving a motion, putting it forward, only enables it to be discussed and voted on, and it does not mean that you're committed to voting to it. And yes, you're correct, we are in the process of arranging for, it's been very difficult to get training for Robert's Rules of Order, but we do now have someone, and we're in the process of setting some potential dates and communicating that to all trustees, so we thank you for your patience with that. It's been quite a chore. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you. Trustee Farrell.
Through your chair, I'm not sure if Trustee Hunda finished her point yet. If she hadn't finished her point, I'd like her to go first, and then I could follow that.
Yeah, I had been in the process of asking you the favor of supplementary follow-up.
Yes,
Chair
go ahead.
Clement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this the point in time then that we can make comments?
Yep.
Okay, I just want to put it out there to board members that may not be aware that past practice in this board has been to is for option B, is to appoint, because, and in my opinion, that's what I'll be supporting, because I find that cost is prohibitive, and our area is vast. It's also very, very hard to get all those communities and outlying and unauthorized townships together. This is a very unfortunate situation. But in my time, we have had to replace, not for such a tragedy, but certainly for other matters, twice that I can recall. And we have done it by appointment, and we have, just in case anyone's interested, we've made some very good choices, and they've gone on to be very committed and good trustees. But uppermost in my mind is the prohibitive cost. To me, that money could go so much further in helping students directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Hunda. Trustee Farrell.
Yes, thank you, Chair Clement. Since we have a duly moved and seconded motion on the floor to discuss option A, I just wanted to speak to option A for a second. So as I read the report, it looks to me like, to run a by-election at this point in time, it's going to cost the city of Sudbury and the taxpayers about $300,000. That's not to mention that we haven't even considered the costs for the outlying areas. So for me, it's easy to just double the cost of that. So that's probably somewhere between $600,000 and $1 million to run a by-election. And I just think that's really, really unfair to the taxpayers of this community at this time. So I will not be supporting option A when we vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Farrell. And don't forget, we pay in the rural areas. It can come back to us. So that would be...
Point of order.
Yes.
If the chair wishes to comment on the motion, I believe you need to step aside.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to...
Can I have a ruling on the point of order?
I withdraw my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Option A. We do have a mover and a seconder. Any more comments? Okay, we'll put it to a vote. Director?
Trustee Clement? No. Trustee Corbier-Addison?
Not in favor.
Trustee Dubosky?
Not in favor.
Trustee Dewar?
Opposed.
Trustee Farrell?
Opposed.
Trustee Gibson?
Opposed.
Trustee Hunda?
Opposed.
Trustee Cosmerly?
Opposed.
And Student Trustee Green?
Opposed.
The motion is not carried.
Thank you, Director. That motion has been defeated. Now we go to option B. We have a motion that the trustee's vacancy position be filled as per section 22(1)(a) of the Education Act. If the office of a member of the board becomes vacant before the end of the member's term, the remainder elected members shall appoint a qualified person to fill the vacancy within 90 days after the office becomes vacant. If a majority of the elected members remain in office, I need a mover, please. Trustee Farrell. A seconder, please. Trustee Cosmerly. Any questions? I see none.
Just a comment through you, Chair Clement.
Yes, go ahead, Trustee
Just when you're,
Corbier-Addison.
when the information is posted, that you also post it within those municipalities. Yeah.
Trustee Gibson.
Thank you, Chair Clement. I do support this motion, but I just wanted to ask a question, and it does somewhat relate to the motions coming after, but it's just the language of this motion is the language of the Education Act, that we shall appoint a qualified person. So I'm just a little bit concerned that in our trustee appointment process, we mention proof of qualifications in accordance with Section 219, but it can be a little confusing because we're asking for a criminal record check, a resume, 2 letters of support. I guess I just wanted to say and to make it clear to those that might be interested in applying that the only qualifications, it's my understanding under the Education Act, is that they are 18 years of age, qualified to vote, and not disqualified. So while we're going to vote perhaps later on the motion that would approve the process, we're voting on a motion right now that is very clear that that's all you need to apply. So I just want to make sure we're not creating an artificial barrier to, for example, to marginalized communities, individuals from those, that really that's all you need. And if you can't get all those other things together, they'll be very nice for us to help us make a decision. But that's really the basic qualification to apply. So I just wanted to make that clear. And perhaps we can discuss it further when we get to the later motion, but I will be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? I see none. Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement?
In favor.
Trustee Corbier-Addison?
In favor.
Trustee Dubosky?
In favor.
Trustee Dewar?
In favor.
Trustee Farrell?
In favor.
Trustee Gibson?
In favor.
Trustee Hunda?
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly?
In favor.
Student Trustee Green?
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. We move to the next motion, that after calling for and considering applications for qualified persons, the vacancy of the trustee be filled by appointment following a majority vote of the remaining elected members of the board. I need a mover, please. Trustee Dewar, seconded by Trustee Corbier-Addison. I see none. On the poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement,
Favor?
Trustee Corbier-Addison,
In favor?
Trustee Dabowski,
In favor.
Trustee Dewar,
In favor.
Trustee Farrell,
In favor?
Trustee Gibson,
In favor.
Trustee Hunda,
In favor?
Trustee Cosmerly,
In favor?
Student Trustee Green.
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. Last motion, that the trustee-appointed process be approved. I need a mover, please. Trustee Farrell. Seconder. Judy, Trustee Hunda. Any questions? Trustee Gibson.
Thank you, Chair Clement. So this is perhaps a better place for my comment and question that I made earlier. So through you, Chair Clement, to the Director, by approving this process, are we just approving the timelines? We can, I guess my question is, if someone doesn't supply all the things that are listed under applicants who qualify in accordance, about the bottom half of the page, we can still consider their applications. Is that correct? It would be up to the board, obviously, as a group. But are all these things required to even be considered, or you just must be a qualified elector to be considered? I guess that's my question. Thank you.
So through Chair Clement, the requirements to be a Canadian citizen, to be at least 18 years of age, not be legally prohibited from voting, and not disqualified from any legislation holding school board office. And I think I gave the example of being a board employee, and also a public school elector. Those are the requirements on the list. There's also asked to being providing other things. So I guess the short answer would be that anyone can apply, but these are the things in the process that are being asked to be considered. Should someone not provide items like a resume or interest letter or pieces of that, I think that in their application, the feedback would be that we would reach out to them through email and ask them to provide that so that they would have a legitimate shot at being considered seriously, because obviously it's very beneficial to have that type of information.
Thank you. Supplementary, if I may.
Yes.
So just to be clear, when it's mentioned later on that you'll be verifying qualifications, the only thing you'll be verifying is the qualifications according to the Education Act. Is that correct? Because we have no way of we get a resume, but we have no way of vetting it. It's not going to be vetted, I'm assuming. So when you talk of the qualifications, that is the only things you're actually going to check. Is my understanding correct?
We will check as much information as we can rightfully do so. Some of this is also based on some of the election guidelines that I think all trustees needed to comply with to be eligible when you went through the process to become a trustee. So this is based on some advice from our conversation with the city.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you. Just to clarify, I guess I'm just looking at the tight turnaround and thinking of something like a criminal record check, if it hasn't been got in time, or if someone can't afford the expense of applying for a criminal record check, but if they were to get the position, they would certainly go ahead. So those are the things that are just making me a little bit uncomfortable. We've already voted and approved a motion that says we're going to appoint someone according to Section 219(1). So I just want to understand, if I approve this process, am I approving every single thing in it? Because I've already approved to do it according to the Education Act. So this is a little contradictory, because now I'm approving something that's asking for more than the Education Act. So I see a contradiction there. That's all. Thank you.
Trustee Cosmony.
I've got a couple of comments. First of all, we need enough information as trustees to be able to make a determination of who we would select, who would fit in, we've gone through this when we went through elections. We had to be able to talk to people and to show to the public that we had the best interests of the board front and center. So I think it's fair for us to measure whoever we choose as a replacement trustee on the board for the next 3 years, that we have some information besides their name and date of birth, basically, to make a decision. I have a couple of questions, though. First of all, about the recent criminal record check. I don't believe that's a requirement anymore. So I will leave that to you to check to see if that is something that's needed. I know this last election I didn't do one, and I thought there had been a change made several years ago that was not required, but I couldn't find any information, so I'll leave it with you. A couple of other pieces I would like to raise. Personally, I would like to see a presentation to the board by the candidates. I think once things are shortlisted, and I would suspect, or I would suggest that it be the chair, the vice chair, and the director that would do a shortlisting, that there be a special board meeting prior to our regular board meeting of October 24th, where whoever the candidates are that are shortlisted would do a 5 or 10 minute presentation to the board, just so that we get to know them. And the reason I suggest that is I've been through a trustee vacancy, filling a trustee vacancy before, and I found it very difficult to know just from reading what somebody presented what they could do, because you can go to anybody to ask them to help you to write a resume or to regurgitate back to the board whatever you think they want to hear. I would personally really like to see somebody who's really interested make a presentation as a delegation, if you want to call it that way. There's no questions asked, but we would have some information, and then we would proceed with the other parts that are outlined. Those are just my thoughts, and I throw that out there.
Thank you, Trustee Cosmony. Anybody else have a comment? Trustee Dewar.
I thank you very much. I've been involved in either 3 or 4 times, I can't remember. Anyway, I think we're doing things very similar to what we did in the past. I have no problem with changing it. I think that the important part is in the trustee appointment process is the timeline. Excuse me. And that's what we need to be sure of. We have never before, doesn't mean we can't do it, but each trustee sitting around this table and in Google, in the past, each trustee did their own interviews. Or not. I mean, we each have one vote. I'm not going to be influenced by anybody else's vote. I'm going to be checking with the candidates myself. I'm going to make my decision through what I find out about the candidates. There was in the past, very definitely, under the Education Act, certain qualifications that had to be met. I remember specifically the last time we were running really late because one of the candidates had not filed one particular document that was required. So as long as the documents that are filed that are required under the Education Act, then I think that the trustee appointment process with the suggestions that are attached is acceptable to my way of thinking. And, you know, just make sure that we're doing the right procedure under the Education Act. And that's all my only comment.
Thank you, Trustee Dewar. Any other comments? I see none. Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement.
In favor.
We've already started the vote.
What's this here? Trustee Gibson.
It's all right. I was too late, so go ahead.
Hey, thank you.
Trustee.
In favor for me.
Trustee Corbier-Addison.
In favor?
Trustee Dubosky.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor.
Trustee Farrell.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
Opposed.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly. Student Trustee Green.
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. So that's done. We move on to number 2, 2023-2024 school year update. Director.
Thank you, Chair Clement. I know we've had lots of presentation time tonight, so my update will be brief tonight. I do want to share that the school year overall has been off to a great start. I'd like to thank our school administrators, teachers, and support staff for creating warm and welcoming environments for the students in our care. As you know, community is one of our 10 values. This has been the focus of the start of the school year. Creating positive school cultures where students feel safe and supported establishes a solid foundation for student success. And when students have a sense of belonging, they are ready to fully engage in their learning. All Rainbow schools will observe the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on Thursday, September 28th, 2023. This will highlight the significance of the day and may encourage students and staff to engage in learning opportunities in the community on Saturday, September 30th, 2023. Schools will fly their flags at half-mast from Thursday, September 28th throughout the weekend. In addition to the Canadian flag, our secondary schools are flying the Survivors flag from the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation, and this is on advice of our Indigenous Education Department. The Survivors flag is an expression of remembrance meant to honor the residential school survivors and all the lives and communities impacted by the residential school system in Canada. Each element depicted on the flag was carefully selected by survivors from across Canada who were consulted in the flag's creation. To learn more about the flag, please visit the website for National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation. As you know, Rainbow District School Board has made Truth and Reconciliation a standalone priority, which underlines the importance of our work in this area. Acknowledging the truth of residential schools throughout Canada will move us forward in our journey towards reconciliation. Rainbow District School Board has adopted the Truth and Reconciliation Commitment to Action Plan, which guides the work that we do in our classrooms, schools, and board within Indigenous education and reconciliation. With guidance and direction from elders and knowledge keepers, and in consultation with community members, leaders, and care providers, Rainbow District School Board has committed to implementing the strategies and achieving the goals in this action plan. Rainbow District School Board will strengthen partnerships and nurture healthy relationships to support the actions with intention and with respect. Truth and reconciliation must not be presenting increased hardship on Indigenous people. The lived experience and bravery of Indigenous peoples give meaning to every child matters. The spirit of a child is nurtured in all human beings through learning opportunities that support healing and wellness. Here at the Center for Education, we'll host our third sunrise ceremony. This year's theme is honoring survivors. I want to thank Hazel Fox-Recola for her ongoing leadership and Nicole Nicholas-Bayer for her leadership as well. Everyone is invited to join us on the grounds of 408 Wembley Drive this Thursday, September 28th at 6:45 a.m. The sunrise ceremony will be conducted by Anishinaabe Traditional Advisor, Mr. Jared Sagasagi, who is a member of Curve Lake First Nation. With elders, we recognize the many gifts that Indigenous people bring to our communities and those around the world. Staff and students will wear the color orange as we continue to learn about residential schools and their impact on generations of Indigenous peoples. Schools will ensure Indigenous students, staff, and families feel supported as we stand in solidarity with them during this time of retrospection and reflection. Information and supporting resources have been shared with schools through our Indigenous Education Department. And for more information about the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Rainbow Schools, it's available on our board website. The sunrise ceremony is at the board office. Yes, 408 Wembley. So with that, I did promise a brief report, but this is a topic that is so important that I had to include it tonight. Although our agenda was long, it's very important to us, so thank you for their time.
Thank you, Director. Appreciate it. This is a little bit late coming, but we have it on the docket. The OSPA Northern, hang on. Missed one. Various capital projects, Superintendent Gilbo. No? Where are we?
Point of order, it's number 3, levying education.
I got it, thank you. Miss number 2. I'm writing notes all over the place and I wrote right over it. That the levying education tax for 2024 bylaw as attached be deemed to have been read 3 times and approved. Mover, please. Trustee Cosmerly. And seconder, Trustee Honda. Any questions? Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement.
In favor.
Trustee Corbier-Addison.
In favor.
Trustee Dabusky.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor.
Trustee Farrow.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly.
In favor.
Student Trustee Green.
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. Number 4, various capital projects update. Superintendent Gilbo.
Thank you, Chair Clement. It's my pleasure to introduce Natalie Musso, Manager of Facilities, who will present updates on some of the capital projects previously presented to you in February and June of this year. This presentation will highlight much of the great work that our facilities and capital projects teams have undertaken over the course of the summer, working diligently to have the facilities prepared for this current school year. And with that, I'll turn it over to Natalie Musso.
Thank you for the opportunity to present some of the projects that we've been working on over the summer, and some falling into this fall as well. But we got 12 schools pretty well completed over the summer. That you'll see the list there. I'm not going to go through it, but I will speak to the different projects that we worked on for each of those schools. So Adamsdale, yard and parking upgrades. So we created a new mini soccer field and a paved basketball court in the schoolyard. So you can see a before picture of what the basketball court looked like. We can move on. And this is the completed basketball area. It was moved to the other side of the yard to create space for the mini soccer field. We increased the parking area by 8 parking spaces by moving the fence deeper into the yard. And this made it easier for buses to turn around. Here's the field before we did any of the work. And that's the during construction. And then we'll see a couple of pictures of the finished product. Alexander Public School, we did some HVAC upgrades. we added cooling to the classrooms on the upper level of the school. So you can see the units that were put on the roof and the ventilation that resulted. And that's the final ventilation, what it looks like in the classroom. At CR Judd, we did roofing, ventilation, boilers, and the yard upgrade. So we replaced the roof for the entire building. That's the installation while it was going on. And we have a picture of the after. We will be adding ventilation to the remaining areas. We renovated the boiler room and installed 5 new energy-efficient boilers. We repaved the asphalt play area in the backyard, including a new basketball court. So that's the new paved area. You can see the walkway there, the new entrance, an improved entrance, and that's the new basketball courts. Confederation shop upgrades. So this is a picture of the shop before it was renovated. It's the electrical shop. We transformed it into a multi-purpose room for robotics and hair salon and aesthetics. This is during construction. And this is some of the finished products of the room. We did new lighting, refinished the flooring, added whiteboards, new storage cabinets, new desks for the computers, and an open space for the robotics. The ABLS Espanola parking lot and green space. As you know, we demolished the old ABLS building and created a parking lot and green space for the schools. This is the demolished area. This is the regrading that was taking place. Now this is the paving for the new parking, which provides for the high school and the new ABLS. Okay, this is still the parking, yep. And then you can see where the green space will be beside the parking. And that will consist of a basketball court, a soccer field for the students' use, and development of a community garden space. Jean Hansen Public School, we did interior renovations and we'll be doing parking upgrades. This is the old area that was transformed into a new washroom and cleaning facilities. We installed new accessible gym doors and a new storage space for the school. We will be expanding the parking area and performing yard upgrades this fall. LaSalle Elementary School, these are just pictures of some of the site. This is a picture of the backyard from the roof. This is another picture of the backyard. This is the front entrance. We can see the turnaround for parent drop-off. And then there's various pictures of the finished classrooms. Items left to be completed are the outdoor site work, installing the gym floor, and completing the daycare section of the school. Yeah, that's good, thank you. Still more pictures of LaSalle. This is the entrance to the school. Lively Secondary, we installed a new roof and did some ventilation in the 7 and 8 wing. We can see that we replaced 7 sections of roof, which was approximately 36,500 square feet. We will be adding 7 mechanical rooftop units to complete the ventilation for 14 classrooms, administration area, guidance, offices, and library. And these units will be controlled by our building automation system. So this is a classroom you can see before they started the ventilation and what it looks like after. Again, this is the corridor where you can see them during construction and what the final product was. new ductwork going into a classroom. And this is the finished product. Llewellyn Park Secondary School. We created 30 extra parking spaces by upgrading and repaving different areas of the parking lot. This is if you can go back for a moment, this is the old section where the cars used to park at the end of the driveway and the buses would turn up the hill to the left and turn around and come back. So we've now created a new parking space, this is it here, where they don't have to go up the hill and it's wide enough for the buses to turn around. We regraded the areas. This is the old parking at the rink, so we created some new parking spaces at the rink. Okay. This was the student parking that's to the left of the school, or to the right of the school if you're at the roadway. And we rebuilt that and created more parking and new asphalt. This is the new portable that went in at Llewellyn Park, and we also put in a portable at Princess Anne, which I haven't got the picture of, but that's what it looks like. Northeastern Elementary, we did some renovations and stair rebuilds. So this is a kitchen area. There were 2 classrooms that had kitchen in them that we removed to create more space in the classroom. So that's the before and after picture. We converted an old science lab into a classroom to make it more functional for the school. So this is the during the construction and what it looks like afterwards. These are the old stairs that that we replaced with the new steel, and that's the final product. And we also created a new vestibule in the lobby. Queen Elizabeth, ventilation and interior renovations. So you're looking at a school that had some old ventilation in there. We replaced and installed new ventilation in the gym and new classrooms, and 4 classrooms, sorry. That's just during construction. And then this is the classroom afterwards. We installed new lighting, new ceilings in the corridor. And this is the finished product. And we put gym sound panels in and new lighting. So the new lockers and rooftop units have been ordered and they will be installed in October. We also put in new exterior doors at Queen Elizabeth. R.H. Murray Public School, we replaced the roof for the entire building. This involved some structural reinforcing, which you see there, and rebuilding a section of the roof. That's the finished product for the roof. We upgraded the power connection to the building, and inside we added ventilation where needed, new lighting in the corridors with the new ceiling system and some painting. This is the finished product of the corridor. These are what the units look like before we added the new ventilation, and this is what it looks like now. So the total cost of all of these projects presented this evening is approximately $11 million, excluding the new build. There were some shop renovations for new equipment at LaSalle and Lively. ISP rooms went in at Princess Anne, Adamsdale, and Churchill, and of course the new portable at Princess Anne. So I would just like to take the opportunity to thank Paolo Berardelli, our project coordinator, for having managed these projects efficiently and effectively under tight timelines throughout the summer. He continues to do a great job.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions for Natalie? Well, thank you very much, Natalie. While the kids are away, everybody's been busy.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we go to number 5, OPSPA Northern Regional Meeting. We have a motion that the board approve the attendance of the following trustees at the 2023 OSPA Northern Regional Meeting in Sault Ste. Marie on October 13th and 14th, 2023. I need a mover, please. Well, you want to do that before you just get a mover? Well, it doesn't make any difference. Who'd like to go? Lisa Corby-Addison. Trustee Cosmerly. Trustee DeBosque. Anybody else?
I just want to mention I had contacted student trustee Sonia, and she sends her regrets for the meeting. She had an urgent matter come up, and she already has a commitment to the dates for to go as a student trustee.
Okay.
She can't go.
Thank you. Myself. I'm going. Anyone else? Trustee Hunda, you're going?
I'm going to try to go. I'd like to have my name approved at this point. I'm not sure if I can make it work.
Thank you. Okay, so far we have Lisa Corby-Addison, Trustee Cosmerly, Trustee DeBosque, myself and Trustee Hunda. That's everyone. So we need a mover, please. Trustee Cosmerly. Seconder, Trustee Hunda. Any questions or suggestions to this motion? I see none. Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement.
In favor.
Trustee Corbier-Addison.
In favor?
Trustee DeBosque.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor.
Trustee Farrow.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly.
In favor.
Student Trustee Green.
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. Number 6, the OSTA EOQ fees. We have a motion that the 2023-2024 Ontario Student Trustees Association membership fee be approved. A mover, please. Trustee Cosmerly. A seconder, please. Trustee Hunda. Any questions? Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement.
In favor.
Trustee Corbier-Addison.
In favor?
Trustee DeBosque. Trustee DeBosque.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor.
Trustee Farrow.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly.
In favor.
Student Trustee Green.
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. Number 7, Ontario Student Trustees Association Fall General Meeting. We have a motion that the board approve the attendance of Student Trustee Green and Student Trustee Jacob Sywink at the OSTA Fall General Meeting, October 19th, 22nd in Toronto. We need a mover, please. Trustee Farrow. I gotta start to learn to look over my shoulder. Seconder, Trustee Dewar. Any questions? We're good. Poll vote, Director.
Trustee Clement. Trustee Corbier-Addison.
In favor?
Trustee DeBosque.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor.
Trustee Farrow.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Hunda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly.
In favor.
Student Trustee Green.
In favor.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Director. We go to number 8. We have a notice of absence. Sonia Jacko Sywink is excused. Director's remarks.
Thank you, Chair Clement. I will be brief, but to start off, it was mentioned tonight that there was a plethora of stimulating activities in one of the presentations earlier, and there was a comment from Trustee Farrow that he sent congratulations to Bruce the Shark. I just want to make it abundantly clear that that's not within my wheelhouse of skills, and I am in fact not Bruce the Shark. Having said that, let me begin by sharing my sincere appreciation of our incredible administrators, teachers, and educational support staff for their outstanding work to get our school year off to a great start. I'd also like to commend our students on a successful return to school and thank our parents and guardians for their ongoing support. In addition, as you saw from the previous presentation, I'd like to thank our facility staff for their incredible work over the summer. In my visits, I can tell you that I've been to LaSalle Elementary, and it is spectacular. The robotics room at Confederation Secondary School is incredible. I spoke to students in there. They're so happy to be in that room learning. It's just a couple examples that you saw from the many on the slideshow, but the wonderful work there is certainly making our places for students more welcoming and more functional for them. So we thank our facility staff wholeheartedly for that. A quick enrollment update. As you know, these are just preliminary because the count date is not till the end of October. But currently in secondary, we have 4,780 students. The predicted was 4,782.5. We are still registering students at this time, especially at Barrydown College, which is all our schools are accepting registrations at secondary level, you know, for those students who might move into town or for newcomers. So please note that that number will change from now until October, but we're very close to our predicted. And in elementary, currently we're at 9,133. Predicted, 9,223. So we're up at elementary by 111 students. And just so you know, additional staffing for those 111 students where necessary or to meet any of the requirements of collective agreements or ministry caps or class size averages has been put in place. So I'd like to thank our Human Resources Department for all that work. That additional staff is in place in elementary schools starting tomorrow. And just to quickly summarize, Exec Council school visits. As you know, as part of our restructuring, we've been visiting schools to connect with staff and students as part of that, and we're committed to that each and every Wednesday and Thursday of the school year. Visits have been very well received, and it's certainly amazing for us to see all the great things happening in Rainbow Schools. Couple quick points. Fall athletics are underway. In addition, school clubs and activities are happening, and our students are benefiting from these activities, the experiences, and the connections they're making. As mentioned, one more quick reminder that this Thursday here at the board office will be our 3rd annual sunrise ceremony. And again, sincere thanks to Hazel Fox-Recollet and Nicole Nicholas for their leadership in making this possible. And finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation to all of you for your dedication and commitment to student learning and well-being. In addition to this board and our amazing staff, we all make a difference in the lives of students. It's a privilege to serve the board, the trustees, and our staff. You all represent and exemplify what reaching minds and touching hearts is all about. So sincere thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Director. Now we go to number 10, OSPA Director.
Sorry, mine's going to be a little bit long. I attended an OPSPA Board of Directors meeting this past Friday and Saturday. OPSPA will share some high-level highlights, but I thought the following information was important to share now. President Kathy Abraham began our meeting by acknowledging the deaths this past summer of longstanding trustees Russell Reed from Algoma District School Board and Dina Morrison from our board. She expressed her heartfelt condolences to our 2 boards on behalf of all Ontario school boards. Trustee Cheryl Evans from Algoma Board shared her memories of Trustee Reed, and I did the same regarding Trustee Morrison. A Canadian law firm is heading up a mass tort litigation in Canada, which will allow individual school boards to pursue claims against social media companies specifically Snapchat and Meta, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, for strategically and knowingly promoting dangerous and controversial content to school-aged children, leading to a range of health and behavior issues, including cyberbullying, eating disorders, and other mental health problems. The idea of a mass tort litigation follows similar action that was successful in the United States against Juul, a giant vaping manufacturer. It's OPSPA's understanding that there is no fee for boards to join this lawsuit. 2 Catholic school boards in Ontario have already identified their interest in proceeding with this litigation, and whether or not other boards join is up to individual boards. OPSPA intends to hold a town hall session in early October, tentatively October the 10th, with the law firm, school board directors, and board chairs to share information about the tort action and to provide a forum for questions and answers. The Ministry of Education is planning a number of consultations in October as it develops specific regulations under Bill 98. These include a consultation on director performance appraisals, and I'm attending an OPSPA policy consultation on this topic tomorrow, and consultations on leveraging surplus property, schools on shared sites, and joint use of schools. The public will have an opportunity to provide feedback on these proposed regulations online. Jennifer McIntyre has shared some excellent background information about these consultations with all trustees, so if you want to learn more, please check out her provincial update reports. The government has approved $30,000 to the Indigenous Trustees Council to support the attendance of Indigenous student trustees at the Northern OPSPA Conference, scheduled for October 13th and 14th in Sault Ste. Marie. It's so unfortunate that we won't be able to send our trustee. A specific agenda has been planned with the aim of building students' confidence and skills. OPSPA directors reviewed the first draft of a policy respecting the OPSPA Legal Defense Fund. This fund was established in 1995 and currently contains $300,000. It's a capped amount. The last time these funds were used was in 1998 during school board amalgamations. Under the proposed policy, the cap would be removed. Right now, accumulated interest must be moved to other funding pots in order to not exceed the $300,000 cap. By removing the cap, the interest could remain in the defense fund. The proposed policy would also clearly define how and when the funds may be used. We were assured by OPSPA that they are not looking to dramatically increase the fund. Attendees at all upcoming regional meetings, including those attending the Northern Conference, will be asked for feedback on this policy, and OPSPA will invite online feedback until October 30th. The next public education symposium will be held over 2 days instead of 3 next year. The dates for PES are Thursday, January 25th, and Friday, January 26th. This will be an in-person event. The first of 3 speaker series webinars was held on September 20th, with over 170 attending a webinar on how boards meet. The next webinar, which is entitled Meaningful Engagement, How to Hear from the Voices That Matter on the Issues That Are Important, will be held on October the 18th, and Delegations, Opportunities to Hear from the Public and What to Do when Disruptions Get in the Way, will run on November 22nd. These webinars are offered at no cost to trustees and are excellent governance tools. Finally, the next Board of Directors meeting is scheduled for November 26th in Toronto, followed by Advocacy Day at Queen's Park on November 27th. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Student Trustee Green.
I will give an update on what is happening with Student Senate. So at our meeting on September 11th, we decided that we were going to make a survival guide for high school for all the high schools in the board. Yeah, so that's very exciting. We've already gotten underway on that. We're going to make a digital slideshow that has QR code links that send us to videos explaining the information more in depth. Also, we are in the midst of creating a social media post for the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. It's going to be a collage of the student senators wearing orange shirts and saying why we support National Day of Truth and Reconciliation.
Thank you very much. This is where we open it up to the floor. Any trustees have any comments? Trustee Farrell.
Yeah, just briefly, last Friday I had the opportunity to visit one of the schools in my area, Gene Hansen Public School, and had a tour around the facility with the principal, Eberlein. I just wanted to say what an incredible school that is. The work that's being done with our most needy students within the board is just absolutely incredible. So it was a wonderful afternoon that I spent there, and I just wanted to mention it here that it's just a fantastic gem that we have in our school board. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Cosmerney.
I want to give a shout out to Valley View Public School. I spent the afternoon there today watching Principal Brenda Carr be duct taped to the wall of her school, and got to sing and dance along with the 700 plus students as we listened to the teachers do karaoke, and they were really good. This was all because they raised over $5,464 for the Terry Fox run. Principal Carr said this was a day of celebration for students, and they had a blast. They couldn't wait to just add their pieces of duct tape to make sure she stayed. So congratulations to all of them.
I got one. Any other comments from trustees? Trustee Honda.
Just really quickly, I hope, first of all, through you to Trustee Cosmerly, I would have loved to have been there to help stick my good friend to the wall, and she is just absolutely crazy, but what a gem. I just want to take a minute, and I really appreciate the presentation that we got on the facilities, and I've had the pleasure of watching as things developed with the new LaSalle elementary school, but it is amazing, and it looks beautiful, and we've done some amazing work there, and I understand that the startup, everything's gone terrific, and parents, students, everyone's very excited, and I just want to take a minute to recognize that. This has been, I can't thank the community enough for their support, because I'm not sure everyone realizes what an impact this has had on this part of the city. This has been, we closed like 3 schools in that area and put them into one. And we did a lot of rerouting and things, and it was a major impact on the community that happens to be people, my constituents, people that support me. But I just want to thank them through this process. They have been so helpful, so encouraging, so willing and excited about what's going on. But it has had a major impact on the community. And I just want to take a moment and thank them for that, because that's no easy feat. We're looking at a generational change here. And I want to congratulate the board for all the work that they did to make it a welcoming place for these new students. But I really, and I want to thank the students, and I want to thank the families. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Honda. Yep, go ahead.
I've been around to the schools on Manitoulin and saw some wonderful work with fall fair displays, Terry Fox runs, volunteers running about, coaching teams, and I'm just happy to see that going on on our schools on Manitoulin as well, and thank the staff and volunteers that have helped those take place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other? Yes, Mr. Green.
Sudbury Secondary School today had our multicultural fair. It's our first one ever. It went amazing, and I just want to thank the teacher, Miss Ashik Fox, and all the students in our new leadership class that we're running. It is a class where students are able to put forward initiatives and create events within our school. It's very exciting. It's a very new thing. But yeah, we were able to pull off a very successful multicultural day. Everyone there loved it so much. It was just amazing.
Thank you, Trustee Green. Any other comments? I see none. I have a few comments from the chair. Rainbow Schools will mark the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on Thursday, September 28th. It is a time to acknowledge the survivors of residential schools who had the courage to share their stories. It is also a time to remember the children who never made it home. Staff and students will come together and wear orange as a symbol of truth on our path towards reconciliation. There will be no school for students this Friday, September 29th, for a professional activity day. We remind parents and guardians that information about professional learning is posted on the Rainbow School Board site. Ontario universities will host an information session to help secondary students plan their post-secondary journey. The Ontario Universities Fair will be at Laurentian University on Thursday, October 5th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Parents and guardians are encouraged to attend. As a reminder, all schools will be closed Thanksgiving on Monday, October the 9th. This month, schools have been busy preparing for the traditional harvest celebration at Lockerbie Composite School on Friday, October 13th. Outstanding articles and entries from the school fall fairs will be showcased at the event, where communities, harvested agriculturalists, botanists, and environmental activists will share their skills and acknowledge about the benefits of traditional harvesting and local farming. Parents, guardians are invited to learn about relationships, belonging, and connection with renewed specialist in child psychiatry, Dr. Jean Clinton, as part of the Parent Involvement Committee's annual general meeting on Tuesday, October 17th. The election of PIC members will begin at 6 p.m., followed by the keynote address, me, at 7 p.m. The live presentation will be held in person at Sudbury Secondary School Sheridan Auditorium. Parents, guardians at Espanola and Manitoulin are invited to gather at Espanola High School and Manitoulin Secondary School to participate. Students will take part in the Headstrong Summit on Tuesday, October 23rd from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Cambrian College. The goal is to teach students how to recognize the signs of mental health and reduce stigma. Students will be inspired to become leaders to foster wellness in their schools. And just as a note, Natalie was showing the pictures of our construction and the construction at Espanola. We're kind of behind the pictures that I got now. I got some great pictures. The soccer field is in there. It's all sodded. It's huge. But what I have to tell you about Espanola is that the news that we had about it going down, when they see this new construction and things are being still renewed in Espanola, it picks everybody up. I've had lots of comments about that, and they're getting ready to pave the basketball field. There's going to be at the end, there's going to be a park where students can hang out and stuff like this here. So it's going to be really nice to see at the end. Now I leave you with a quote from Malala Yousafzai. And you remember her, they tried to assassinate her in Afghanistan for being a child who all she wanted to do was learn to read and be herself. Let us remember, one book, one pen, one child, one teacher can change the world. Thank you all. Still out.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Report from officials and staff, Special Education Advisory Committee, minutes June 2nd. You have that in your file. Attending requests for proposals, non-staff communications, letters to Ministry, Stephen Lecce. letter to Minister Stephen Lecce, and September 11th, letter of sympathy from Ottawa Catholic School Board. Future meetings are listed there in front of you: Student Senate, Special Ed, Strategic Planning, Environmental Education, Equity Inclusive Committee, Parent Involvement Committee, and Board Committees. If you're on any of those committees, write the dates down so that you can attend these meetings. Now, we just need a mover to adjourn. Trustee Farrell, I was ready for you this time. Thank you everyone for attending. See you next